Cool. So this is like an overall article
This is just going to
marketing
be an
blueprint, as it
overview
says.
for the first lesson to give everyone an understanding of what a post is, to give them an idea of what the course is about. Then we'll move further and deeper in as we go into more weeks, much
Okay.
deeper strategies and much more in depth.
So part of this is actually going to be, of course, starting off with some of the basics, but really more of the fundamentals. Some people it might be totally new to them, and some people it might be just old news, same stuff they've done before.
Yeah, it might just be a refresher.
Yes, a little refresher, but all of this is actually part of a specific blueprint where all of the parts matter towards the end goal and towards the complete goal. So I think that's going to be a good introduction to the course if you guys are ready to do it.
Yeah, so Darren has, I think we just go ahead and launch into this, and I'll explain a little about Darren's background so you guys can get to know him a little bit. So today, we're going to really talk about ranking posts, and we're really going to be we'll start out here with an introduction to Darren, explain his background. It might be a slightly embarrassing picture of Darren that we'll probably have to improve over time. Just kidding. But, we have a little
Definitely.
picture of Darren in the next screen. We'll explain his background and explain his expertise. And as you guys just listen to Darren talk, you'll be blown away by his, just abilities on-page and off-page SEO. And then we'll go through his 12-step process. And this is something that he's developed, and we're calling it the Article Marketing Blueprint. We'll go through that. This is something that he's developed by doing actual manual work over 2 or 3 year period. And then we'll have a Q&A session, and then we'll talk about what's in the next week training. So during the Q&A session, we'll unmute as many people as we can, or take questions as well in the chat in the questions window.
Yeah, if you guys want to stick around for that Q&A session, that's going to be really specific, and that's actually going to be one of the things you'll notice more about SEO Wisely as we go and as you participate, is that we are so inclusive in getting everyone involved, because that really helps to boost the learning process and to boost how you receive it specifically and how it makes real results for yourself. Like asking questions in a real class really gets you involved and gets you specifically to know what you need to know and personally make it powerful for yourself. So that's more of one of the tidbits of what is going to make SEO Wisely different.
Definitely, and the thing about SEO Wisely is that these are not, I mean, if you guys were in part of the Wednesday class, then you know this, but these are not sales webinars. We are, yes, we have, we started a new membership site called SEO Wisely, and but basically the point of today's little class is really just that. It's a class where we're actually being able to go through teaching and training. And as we continue in SEO Wisely, we'll continue to do classes, so everything's recorded. And these are really classes. This is sort of like coming into and sitting down in a college class and going through it and listening to the teacher talk and then asking questions and then doing stuff. So that's really what this is. And I think a lot of us...
Overall, that means just get involved and participate. So be ready to ask some questions and be thinking about what you want to say. And if you don't have a headset hooked up, then hook it up, because we want people to be involved here. So that's going to be a little bit of a shock to some people, to a lot of people most likely.
Yeah, and I think some of us are tired of the next sales webinar where here's the next pitch, here's the next pitch. We're actually going to be talking about products here and there in the class, but we're really going to be talking about, we're actually going to be doing the work on the screen. So enough with explaining that. Let's go ahead and get into it here. This is a picture that Darren took of himself probably at like 4 a.m. But
it's about 5, yeah.
5 a.m. A lot
Just
of,
for you, it wasn't meant to be there.
and I didn't add John's picture here. This was done a couple weeks ago, so we'll add John's picture for the upcoming trainings. But you got me here, and my background basically is I was a recruiter for a number of years in the transportation industry, and then started working with SE NukeX, and then formed SE Nuke Underground. And then as a part of that, we did this class where it's kind of similar to this class. It was a 12-week class where we went through building an affiliate blog. So during that class, I met Darren Simmons. And Darren, tell us about yourself, and then John, you can introduce yourself as well.
Just before you start that, though, we're not seeing that slide, Jeremy. So
okay. All right. So here we go. There we go. So you should be able to see the picture now.
Oh dear.
Okay.
That's terrible. Right.
Well, just tell us about yourself,
Okay,
and tell us why you stay up until 5 a.m. working at times.
what we want to do is set, the biggest expectations here to where once you hear what Darren actually has to say and what the class actually includes, then, we want to make a big difference between him just there in a sweatshirt.
That's true. I'm not wearing a sweatshirt today.
So go ahead.
So tell us about yourself, Darren, a little bit.
Basically, sure. I started off wanting to build a website. I was marketing and selling a product for myself and shipping it, which got a little bit like hard work, doing all the paperwork, doing all the shipping, the returns, the money side. So I approached several manufacturers of this product and agreed to form partnerships with them and act as an affiliate. So my background started in affiliate marketing that way, and from there I realized that I didn't really enjoy the split testing side, the marketing side. I liked just pure SEO. I liked ranking, I liked building websites. I enjoyed finding out exactly how to rank websites and post fast within Google. But I didn't enjoy what I call the SEM, the search engine marketing side of the business, and didn't learn anything about that. Because of that, I joined the Masters Council with yourself and several other people who were knowledgeable in other areas. And it was through that collaboration that I learned a lot more of the search engine marketing side of the business, which enabled me to be more successful. When I was offered the chance to join yourself and John in SEO Wisely, which again is further collaboration with people that want to know exactly what's happening now, what's really working, and not be given ream after ream of sales spiel to try and get them to buy the next product, I thought it was a great idea, and I jumped at the chance. So that tells you a little bit about me and how I ended up here.
Bond,
Darren Bond.
and I should say that Darren, the reason why he's in the sweatshirt in this picture is that he works a full-time job during the day, and then many times works until like 5 a.m. his time. So he'll do these 18-hour SEO marathons, and from these marathons, he finds out what works, what doesn't, and I'm just going to close Skype. What works and what doesn't work, and then from there, he's really found what's effective with SEO. So I also want to introduce John. John, tell us about yourself in about 30 seconds to a minute or whatever.
Oh, I'm here more in the background. These guys are leading the course, but I've just been all over the web and started out on mainframe computers and microcircuitry technology in the late 90s, and Jeremy and I actually started working way before that, putting in modems and playing Duke Nukem back in the mid 90s, and so since then I've just evolved through having my own tech business and doing website stuff, SEO stuff, and things like that, all on my own, and more on the business side of things. So you'll see me in Wisely perhaps talking more about the business side of things or some overall SEO stuff. So that's my role, and that's me, John.
Okay. Well, I definitely wanted to introduce John because he's, part of SEO Wisely and really good at what he does. So, basically in this class, I'm just going to be, doing work with Darren and John. So in this class today, we'll be going through this 12-step process we call the article marketing blueprint. And then we'll take questions towards the end. So some of the questions you've asked about different templates. During this course, we will be including a lot of different templates and a lot of different methods. The biggest thing that Darren has found, and I'm just going to give you guys, start off with as much of a shock as I can, is that Darren has found that using, there's a huge difference between using automatic software and manual software, okay, or we call it automatic marketing and manual marketing. And what that means is automatic marketing is when you're using software to accomplish SEO. So a lot of us are familiar with SENukeX or Magic Submitter, or there's different ones out there, Six Submitter. These are all automatic marketing software, and they accomplish automatic marketing. There's a time and place for those, but Darren, and of course, we were realizing before talking to Darren, but Darren has really seen how the time and place to use automatic software, but Darren has really found that using manual marketing, doing marketing without software at all, doing that for the first 2 or 3 levels of marketing before you go beyond, that is really effective. And so, Darren, talk about that for a second before we go into this, because a lot of this process we'll show you is doing manual stuff before automatic stuff.
Sure. I bought SENukeX the day it came out, like Jeremy. I've used it every day. It's a great tool, and I wouldn't swap it for anything. It's got a role. Predominantly, if you use it on your Tier 2 sites, and if you use it in a certain way to create one authority Tier 1 site, it can be extremely effective. If you start using it and download several of the templates that are involved with SENukeX, what you are doing is you are following a well-trodden path that everyone before you and everyone in the future is going to tread and lay down in probably exactly the same style, the same pattern, leaving exactly the same blueprint, and expect to get good results. Unfortunately, in my opinion, the time and the place for those templates isn't directly on your money side. They are great using into your Tier 1 sites, although when I use SENukeX on my own money sites, I will manufacture a custom-made simple template, which is far, far easier and more effective than a lot of the very, very complicated ones that can cost considerable amounts to run. On top of that, predominantly I've found that manual marketing using a variety of platforms to achieve a variety of backlinks is the best way to get indexed and get authority and get stable rankings from Google. The problem that a lot of people find is that they'll get a rank that's based upon an SENukeX submission, and those sites will slowly get eradicated. WordPress will delete the site after so long, and so will many of the other backlinks, and they will weaken, become diluted, and your rankings will fall. Often people think they've took a slap for this or something's wrong, whereas in reality all it is they have lost the backlinks that were giving them the strength in the first place. By creating your backlinks manually, you've got far more control over how the links are used against your site. You've got more control over your anchor texting, and you've got more control over exactly what you want to say. So you lay down a series of backlinks using articles, using bookmarks, and using the social networks, giving you a variety of anchor text, giving you a variety of URL domains. And those are the safest backlinks to create. They're manual, and it doesn't take that long. I mean, when we say manual, there are still certain small programs that you can use to speed the process up and to make it simple. One of the ones I use is OnlyWire. You can get a free version of it, so we're not plugging anything, but it does speed up the process. If you decide to go for the pro version, I think it's about $16 a month with full capture service. That's very good at speeding up directory submissions to the social networks and to the bookmarks, and we'll be going further into how to use that later in the course, along with other free and small paid-for software. But predominantly, most of the stuff that I will teach will be free. There's very little programs that I use or that I purchase. I use SEO and I use manual marketing, and that's what the course is going to teach you, how to use manual marketing to its full effectiveness.
Okay, so let me just show you this diagram and then we'll go through the PowerPoint so you guys can get a visual explanation of what we're talking about here. What Darren has found is that if you have a URL on your money site, okay, so can you guys see this? Sure you can. This is your money site, and Darren has found that, say this is your URL on your money site, okay, so this is a well-written 300 to 700 or 800 or 1,000 word article. Of course, it's not spun, it's on your money site. It has your keyword, once in a header, once in the body, not more than 4 times, and this is the case across the board. That's where you put your keyword there. Once in a header, once in the body, not more than 4 times total. And so this is your URL, your new money site. Then what Darren does is he creates accounts on 6 different article directories. And what he does is he writes an article on, I can make this diagram available definitely. And it's not complete, it's just a working diagram. But what he does is he takes he writes one article. Okay, so he has one article on the money site, then he has a second article, we call this the off-page article. He writes this article, and he submits the same article to all 6 article directories. Same one. We'll talk about why, but he submits the same article. So these are all tier 1, and then you're using different anchor text, right? Different keywords and anchor text.
Yes. Yes, we're diversifying the anchor text within the related keywords. So again, later on in the course, we'll show you exactly how to target these related keywords to give your site maximum benefit, how to rank faster, and site architecture, because a lot of people are building the sites without the architecture in mind from the beginning. And if you do that, you're building it haphazardly, and you have to build it with an architecture in mind. Very much like the backlinks you're creating have to be built with some pattern of chaos, as I like to look at it. Google doesn't look, well, Google does look for a standard pattern that's being used time after time. So the best way to avoid that sort of detection is to use what I call chaos SEO, and to make it look as natural as possible, because this is how people would backlink in the real world, which is what you're trying to assimilate.
Okay, definitely. And so you can see this diagram here that what he's using is article directories for the first tier, and he's using article directories, and the reason why is that they have a lot of power and authority. And so then that's tier 1, so that's why it says tier 1A. And then tier 1B, the second tier is blogs, Web 2.0 blogs. And so what he's doing there is creating blogs on different Blogger, WordPress, Weebly, different ones. We'll talk about, we'll talk about specifically which ones they are. And then in tier 3, then he's doing automatic marketing. Okay, so to recap this point, he's doing article directories for tier 1, and he's doing Web 2.0 blogs for tier 2, and he's doing all that manually, not creating one article directory account with automatic software, or not creating nothing, with the blogs. It's all basically manual, and then by the time he gets to tier 3, then he's using SEO. So, here's the thing. If you try to create, like if you can see me right here pointing to article directory 1, if you try to create this, with automatic software, you're leaving a footprint that says, hey, this is automatic software that created this, even though all the automatic software tries to mask it. In the end, it's real obvious that it's automatic. And so, and then do the same thing with Blogger. If you create your blogs with automatic software, you're leaving that footprint. Hey, I'm automatic software creating this, and it's detectable in some places. And so that's why Darren's saying these accounts are deleted when you create these automatically, right, Darren?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you create these manually, you're leaving a manual footprint where you're telling the article directory or the blog, hey, a real person was here and created this. I'm a real person. Sorry, go ahead. You were talking, and I just wanted to make that point.
No, that's right. It's absolutely right.
Saves all the subsequent work too.
Yeah, I mean, the point here is that you might not need to keep enhancing each and every one. You might find that as you slowly build them, the keyword that you're after and the site that you're using is easy enough to win, and your site's got enough authority that by the time you start building your tier 2 sites, you're already rating on page 1 Google. Then it gets really easy to just keep a slow maintenance on your backlinks using SEO Counsel. Sometimes you need to expand on that. Sometimes it's easy to contract on that. But the best way to do it is to create these accounts manually, put in a profile to become a real person, and they will generate traffic as well as generating the backlink, which is really what we're talking about here. Article marketing in itself isn't a very good form of internet marketing, but from my point of view as an SEO, it promotes high-level authority and backlink use to the money site to enhance your indexing and to get your higher search positions.
Now let's answer a couple of questions right now, because since they apply. Scott was asking, since this question really applies to right now, and we'll get to the other questions in a second, how specifically are you saying that if you create these article directories, with software and the blogs with software, how are these sites knowing? How do they know that it was created with automatic software?
It leaves a footprint that is detectable via a digital signature. A lot of people are either using spin text through it, which again can be picked up. It's the same question as how does Google know that I'm copying it from somewhere else? Every word has been used in the English language already, so therefore no word is totally unique. And yet Google can detect what's copy and what's original, the same as it can detect what's manual and what's automated.
Yeah, the way I like to say is everything that is programmed it can be deprogrammed because someone made it. So, of course, it can be deprogrammed. So the spin text is programming in the manner of setting up words through these systems. And so, of course, since it's programmed that way, they can detect it as well. Plus, there are other things like using sockets, for example, like SEO Counsel, they can tell, or just other little weird things like leftover characters in there, or lots of ways that they can be detected.
And of course, the other things are
Absolutely,
IP.
the way that it's written.
Your IP address, even though you can
IP.
you can use hide my ass, you can use other proxies to mask that. But I've seen Google block again and again. I've used Scrapebox. I was using it the other day, and it was blocking me. And I was behind a proxy. So it's like, okay, well, in the end, some of these sites can detect your IP, your proxy, and they can flip through that. And so what we're saying is actually do what people used to do, which is manually create accounts for the first 2 tiers. And yes, it's a lot of work and it's not easy. However, though, you're building for the future. So if you create 6 article directories, and you can then use these again and again, these article directories. You're not creating something and leaving it. You're going to actually in the future reuse these article directories to post other articles, right? You're not abandoning these, right, Darren?
Absolutely. And the beauty is once you've, setting each one up, it will probably take you about 10 minutes for each one. So you're looking at 1 hour's work. Once you've then set them up, it is very easy because you're using the same article, you've wrote everything, everything's prepared. Once you've got that article ready, the same as if you were going to submit to automated software, you just log into each one, copy and paste it from your notepad. It takes 15 to 20 minutes, which I do regularly, to log into each one, put the article down, lay down the bio, lay down a good backlink, and log out and log into the next one. So 4 or 5 minutes on each one to get proper PR8, PR9 backlinks, which will really enhance your rating. To me, that's time well spent.
And again, you're not abandoning these, so you're telling these article directories, hey, I'm a real person, I'm not using proxies, I'm actually logging, and you can even use your real name or a pen name, I don't think it matters. What they look for is a real person here. We're the real person here. And so
you're building up authority behind your own name and your own niche. But the first time you start to log in and post articles to the directories, they'll look at your articles, and it might take a little while before they agree to allow them through. You might even get knocked back. Each article directory has got its own separate set of rules. If you learn how to post to each one, then your own account will build up authority. Now what that'll do is each time you then submit an article, it will get released quicker and with more link juice, which ultimately is the aim here, to build up link juice to point back to your keyword, which whatever that might be, and to whatever post, page, or site you wish to promote.
And so someone asked an earlier question on the tier 2 with these Web 2.0 blogs are using a spun version of the same article. Yes, you're using a spun version, but we're going to actually explain how we're doing it. We're not actually, we're just pulling it out of the best spinner, a version of it, and pasting that into the blogs. So the point of all this diagram, and we're going to go through this whole process here next, is do tier 1 and tier 2 manually, create these article directories, create these blogs, and post to them manually, and then by the time you get to tier 3, you're taking the URL from Blogger, the URLs that were created in your blogs, and now you're blasting that with SEO. This is where SEO shines, is here. Why? Because it's now improving the authority of that blog, improving the authority of the URL here, and then that is improving the authority and link juice of the article directory. And then now this article directory is moving up in the search engine, and now that all that authority and link juice is passed to the URL. So this all ranks the URL on your money site where it shows up. Does that make sense?
When you add in, when you add in the indexer to the SEO programs, which you should do as you use the social network templates, and I only use the indexer on the social network templates. As you build those on your tier 3 sites and it indexes those links, obviously you're indexing the blogger links. So therefore the spider bots are crawling through your tier 2s, your tier 1s, and back down to your money site in order to follow that link correctly. And that is where you're building in a lot of the juice.
Definitely. Well, let's go into the process so we can see this here. And I think what we're thinking is we'll make this replay available, as well as some of the stuff you guys are asking for. I can take a snapshot of this template here, anyway, we'll make this stuff available so you guys can see this. And this is all just laying the foundation for what we're going to be doing in the class. Okay, so today it's like more like a teaching, but once you understand these concepts, then you'll see us doing this. I've had the pleasure of spending hours talking to Darren at midnight my time, 5 or 6 a.m. his time.
5 or 6, yeah.
And he's schooling me about, hey, you're doing this on-page SEO incorrect. You're losing the link juice, or you're doing this wrong, or that wrong. I'm like, hey, that's part of learning. I'm an SEM. I love the on-page stuff. Darren is an SEO. He loves the off-page stuff, and he's actually schooling me in different areas. So that's the whole thing we're doing here, is bringing this forward and learning together is our whole thing here. So here's the 12-step process. Why don't you go through this and let's explain. We're going to go through a slide for each process, but why don't you give us the overview, Darren, and go through this this process.
Okay. Well, it's all going to start off, as with everything, with a unique article. Now you are going to aim for 550 words. You can make it 500, but really you want to go 5 to 550 because then it's usable for Nuke as well. And it's going to give you more scope later on when we spin it. That article then, you're going to post that same copy to the 6 directories. Once you've done that, you're going to need a spin article. Now we're going to show you how to make what we call a super mega spin article. and it's not that difficult. Once we've got those, we'll list those into a notepad form so as we've got all the varieties, and over the course of a couple of weeks we'll re-release those spun versions to the article directories. We're going to set up Web 2.0 such as Blogger, LiveJournal, WordPress, and we're going to post to those blogs manually. We're going to link them all together over various posts so that each one is interlinked to another one with a recommended post. Then we're going to start and nuke the 10, or we might use 6, depending on how far we go and how much is needed for the particular keyword that we're going to aim at. Then we start and nuke those with individual custom-built templates, post more articles to the blogs if we need to, start the social bookmarking accounts, and more releases to the article directories. Now, that's a very long process, and to be honest with you, unless I'm going for an extremely competitive keyword, I very, rarely have to go through all that. Most keywords, unless you're going for something like diet or you want to win weight loss, you wouldn't have to go anywhere near through that whole list. For particular ones like weight loss or golf, then you would have to keep repeating that over and over again, but it would eventually, over time, give you the authority you need in order to rank for even the hardest keyword.
So,
okay.
Does that make sense, that overview there? And this is just sort of like, this is the bird's eye view of what we're doing here. Some of you guys who've done all this is like, this all makes sense. Some of you haven't, then, you know, it might be brand new. So let's go to the next page, and what we're going to do here is just talk about each of these steps here. And, you know, we've sometimes I think of different titles. So one of the titles I thought was for this whole thing is, you know, it's a 12-step program. You know, there's so many different 12-step programs out there. Well, this is the 12-step program for effective SEO. You know, George, you were asking me, you know, what is the timeline? How long does it take you to do this process? Is it like 1 to 2 weeks, Darren, normally?
Well, again, it depends upon the difficulty of the keyword, the strength of the site you're using, the competitiveness, whether you've got the article directories already set up, whether they're brand new, whether you've already got authority in the 2.0 sites, or whether they're brand new. If we were taking it from a brand new build, it can take 2 weeks, but both Jeremy and I have proven this process before we've started this course, that within 2 weeks it will be effective and gain you page 1 for lower grade keywords, page 2, page 3 for the high grade keywords. And hopefully that's what we're going to run through, and we're going to do it in real time, and I'm expecting to do it within 12 hours, all in. So 1 hour over 12 weeks, 12 hours. Okay.
And so if you guys follow this process, you know, during the class, even if this is the only class you attend, if you decide to follow this process, you know, you'll be effective. And so that's our thing. And we want to give you so much that just to blow your mind. And this is the kind of stuff that we, you know, experience every day. Because we, you know, talked with Darren, we talked with Linda, you know, we're working with George, and we're just building a community of people that are, you know, sharing what works, and that's the whole, you know, concept behind SEO Wisely. So step 1 is write a unique article. Give yourself 1 to 2 hours, and this is going to be your this would be your this is going to be your off-page article, right? This is your first. You already have an article on your site with your keywords, and now you're writing your off-page article.
Yeah.
And
you want it.
Go ahead.
With around about a keyword density of 2 to 3%. You want it entertaining. You want it interesting. It's got to be wrote for the reader and not as an advertisement for your website or for your product. If you write it as an advertisement, you won't get it published by many of the article directories. We're only going to use 6. They are strict. They do make you adhere to their rules, and if you break them, you won't get released at all, which will waste your time. Try and keep the review exactly that, an honest and open review that is not a testimonial for your sales page. The aim here is to create a backlink that is published into Google, not to publicize yourself or your website. Whether you publicize yourself or your website or not, the backlink remains the same. The effectiveness of whether your article gets published, however, is diminished. So you might only get one publication through 6 accounts if you try and publicize yourself too heavily. So make it for the reader, not as a sales copy.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make is you and I've talked about this, is that people are just writing a pitch, but yeah. As we've talked about, people are tired of being pitched. They want real information. I mean, if you could just think about when you're writing the article, ask yourself this question: is this article giving value to the web? If I came across this article, would I be like, oh wow, I appreciate this. This is helpful, valuable. If it's tips or it's a review or it's some kind of way of, it's got to be engaging. Your point is that you actually want to get real people to click. Besides ranking this article, you actually want real people to click the link and come to the money site, right? You want someone really there who might turn into a conversion. So you're writing the article for real people and of course search engines. Go ahead.
That's right. If you get it published, it will rank highly because these article accounts have got high PR. They're very trusted. They usually end up page 2, page 3 on Google themselves without much help. Once you start adding backlinks to those, they can become page 1, and you will get traffic. Each of the article directories produce statistics in the background to show you exactly how many views people have had and how many people have downloaded that article, which can be very helpful because each person that downloads it and puts it on their website, again, adds either a signal to Google that it was copied, if they try and hide it, or if they allow it, it again gives another backlink to your website from a different URL, which gives you more wider diversification of URL domains, which is quite important.
Definitely. So let's keep moving. This is not going to be in the next 30 minutes on the first step. Okay, so next you're posting this to 6 article directories. Now these are the holy grail. You're posting this article, the same bloody article. Sorry, I just didn't want to use the word bloody there.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't use that.
The same article. No, not too much.
You don't use the word bloody.
The same article that we've wrote. And these are the 6 article directories that I recommend. As I said, there are hundreds of directories, but these are the 6 that tend to give you high link juice. They also rank highly on their own. They're not in SEO NUCX, so as to the best of my knowledge, these 6 added together are not available on any automated software. And if they were, I still wouldn't use it. It takes 5 minutes to log into each one of these and post an article. It's as easy as that, and you will gain authority within your own niche.
Now, Chris Matt has a question.
Go articles. Yep.
Well, everybody can read those. So, sorry, I just wanted to, for the sake of time, let's answer it so you guys can see these are Go articles, article rich, blah blah blah. I just wanted to ask Chris's question is a great question. Don't article directories ask for a unique article? But you're saying use the same article for all 6. This gets into the question, the endless question about duplicate content. So, answer that question if you would, Darren. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to keep moving.
No, not at all. Right, the argument over duplicate content. If I go to Go Articles and release an article that they've never had before, it's a brand new article. If I give them the same article again, they'll reject it as a duplicate article. If I then go to Article Rich and submit the same article, to them it's a brand new and unique article. They don't go over to Go Articles and check because there are hundreds of thousands of article submissions every day. Will you get slapped by Google? No, you won't, because what you're offering isn't even a drizzle of rain within an ocean. The internet is huge. Each of these I can show you categorical proof where the same article is ranked within the top 40 pages at each one of these at the same time, each one controlling a different vertical. So out of the top 40 you can control 6 different verticals from the same article from those 6 accounts, and that doesn't include your website. Now, if you then put the same article on your website, you'll find that each one of these disappear very quickly because then you're showing Google that there's duplicate content because they're all linking to the same thing. Does that make sense? Does that answer it a bit more?
Yeah, so basically, content does and does not apply. The rules do and don't apply at the same time, right? Behold both the
Yeah.
kindness and severity of the Lord Most High, or whatever. There's the yin and yang of life. So the yin and yang of duplicate content is, yes, the rules apply, and no, they don't apply. Yes.
If I were to take, yeah, I mean, here we go. Here's taking it and explaining it a bit further. If I take the same article and use it in an automated article directory, such as Article Nuke, and I start and blast it to hundreds of article directories using the same article, it will quickly get picked up as the same article being copied all over the internet, because that's what you're doing. If you take 6 high authority websites directories, these websites and directories are there to help the readers. If you are producing something that isn't spammy, that gives good value to the reader, then each of these directories will want their readers to use it, to download it, and to read it. So you won't get hit for copy. Otherwise, each of these directories would be slapped and banned themselves.
So basically, it's going to count in both ways. It's going to count on the site. Once we rank the article, it'll rank on-go articles, and article-rich and magazines, etc. The same article will rank in all 6, because Google still, the old rule used to be that duplicate content did not count across domains. It counted within a domain. So that's why Go articles would say you can't submit the same article, exactly the same article over and over again. And Article Rich says,
and even if you try and spin it, if you do a low-grade spin, a lot of them will pick it straight up. I mean, even 30-35%, they'll say, no, you've released this to your account already, or a similar version. So playing by the spin rules and re-releasing the same articles at low values will cause exactly the same. That is copy. They'll pick it up as copy, and they won't even release it, let alone Google pick it up.
But if you're submitting the same exact, if you're submitting the same one, the point is you're submitting the same one, and it's counting across the web as well as inter-domain. So, it sounds crazy because everybody's all afraid about duplicate content, but Darren, you're saying that you've seen this, this does work if you submit the same article over and over again here. I mean, it's the first 6 sites.
The point that we're gonna prove to people over the course is that we're going to do it to a site. The site is a brand new site. We're going to do it in real time. I'm not going to do anything behind the scenes without it being in the hourly course we run. We're going to start off with a brand new website, and each person on the course can log into Google, can use the keywords that we're going to try and aim for, and see for themselves exactly whether it works or whether it doesn't work. So there is no better proof to anybody than their own eyes. So I think that's the best thing we can offer, a live course that either works live in front of you or you prove doesn't.
Okay, definally. So let's move on to step 3. Let's move on to step 3. Now, I couldn't resist this picture of Megan Fox. And the reason, of course, is this is probably her head, but their body's not her. It's all about Photoshop these days. But I got this super sexy picture, and the reason why is to make a point, and that is, if you take time to make a super mega article, you're making something that looks more sexy than this picture. And so is it worth 4 hours of your time to make something more sexy that can be used over and over again? Yes. And so forgive if there's anyone's offended, please don't be offended. The whole idea is you're going to make something. I could also get a picture of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel and put it up here. Same thing. You're making a thing of beauty, depending on how you define beauty. That is also beauty. And so you're taking 3 to 4 hours to make one of these articles. Now, have you guys heard of this? Sometimes people call these super spun articles, ultra spun articles. These are things you can buy as well. But have you guys heard, of this concept before? Essentially, what it is, it's an article that has 3 or 4 variations of each sentence in the article. The easiest way of doing this, I'll just show you this because I want to make sure there's time to get to questions. The easiest way to do this is actually in the Best Spinner. So if you can see the screen here, I'm in the Best Spinner, and so we can actually start doing some of this live. The dog, my favorite sentence, the dog ran across the street. Okay, so this is like, if you want to make this sentence in a super mega article, I would just add the spinning syntax as so. I was shocked, shockwave, when a dog ran across the road, and old mangy dog skipped across my path. Okay, so you see I've done this. Now this is 4 variations of the same sentence. So I've said basically the same thing, but 4 different ways. So it's the same message, but with 4 different sets of words, right? This is the best way to make a super mega article. So you can see down here in the lower right-hand corner, yes, I know I'm on 1080p resolution, but whatever. 2% unique, see this? This is, of course, how unique the article is. As you go along, if you can get this to 70 to 75% or higher, then you have an article that can be used over and over and over and over and over and over and over, like hundreds of times, at least 20 times, because it's so unique. It comes across unique every time it shows up. So in this case, I've just got 4 versions of the same sentence. And when I go to spun article and new spin, this is all in the best spinner, it's randomly pulling one of these 4 versions. But in a real super mega article, one that's fully done, you have a huge variety of versions that are actually all readable. Why? Because you actually manually went through and wrote this article. Does that make sense? Are you there, Darren?
That's right.
Yep.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Yep. The easiest way to do it is to take your original article and basically split that down into sentences and produce 4 sentences of each sentence. If you do it that way, you've already got a basis to start with. You're not trying to come up with something new. And if you've got 4 variations of each sentence, then when you times that up by sentences per paragraph, and an average sort of 500 one's going to be 5 paragraphs, the combinations ultimately are into the 70-90% mark. And that's how you produce a super mega article.
And you guys, have you guys heard about this? Raise your hand if you heard about an ultra spun or super mega article. Just raise your hand. If anyone, does this make sense to everybody? I know we're giving you the quick overview. Somebody
yeah,
say,
then we'll run into more detail as we.
Okay, so you guys are raising hands, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so
on the people, it will be prepared, but it will be released live so they can follow the results that we're achieving.
And the whole point when you get to the hand spin version, so say I personally like to write the thing in the best spinner. Later on, I actually do this manually when I pick the antonyms. So I'll just I'll click this and add other words to it. And so I'll do it manually though, and I'll pick ones that make sense. We'll talk about that later. But whatever. So the point is, though, you're doing this manually. You're not ever using auto select. You're doing it manually because you want this to be really readable, and regardless of how many versions come through, it's readable. All right. So.
And it offers value. Yeah.
So next, what you're doing is you are taking this spun variation of this. You're taking the super spun article, and you're taking. And let me just show it to you, or I'll first explain it and I can show you. You're taking the whole thing, you're putting it into a notepad, and you're getting variations out and putting those variations into a long notepad that you later on will be using. Do you want to explain that a little bit, Darren,
right.
as I do this?
Yeah, sure. What we're going to do now is the best spinner gives you the chance to add, to produce a final spun copy, as Jeremy was showing you. I produced 10, 12 different copies of the spun original, put them into a notepad, into long lists, so as I've got one page with all of the spun articles together. Now, what I've got then is 10 unique articles which I will use once and once only to each and every directory. So as I've used it, I'll delete it off that notepad. That way I know that we are not going to be facing any outright copy issues, because the second time we use this article, the first time obviously, as I've said, we released to the 6 article directories and it's all the same, but the second time round each one gets a totally unique spun version of the super mega article. So now we're causing diversification within our article directories, although we're staying within the same niche, and we can repeat this process again and again and again to each of the directories and come up with a totally unique variant that they will happily submit for us.
And this is just an article that, this is from the leading articles, which is a place you can go to buy some of these articles. It's really best to make one of these manually, but just for simplicity, I'm just showing you this step visually, and that is new spin. So I'm just hitting new spin, and I'm taking this and I'm dumping that into a notepad.
That's it.
And paste, and then
I'm just building up several versions.
So my little line there separating
10,
it.
12, that's it, little line. Then we know that's where we're going to take one. We might post that one into Go Articles. We might take the next one and post that into Article Snatch, the next one into Article Rich, one into Self-Growth. And this way around, we know that each one is getting a totally unique article, although we're not going to have to write one time after time after time for each individual one. We can keep spinning and spinning, going back into the best spinner, create another 12 articles, and that means we can go twice around each of the article directories, again releasing almost unique articles.
So, you know, it really doesn't matter what spinner you're using. The best spinner is, so keep in mind that, let me just back up and say this, that, that in step 2, you've posted your original article to article directories. So in the next steps, you're now making a super mega article that you're going to come back and post that same super spun version of the article to the same article directories and also your blogs. So, you know, so we're just now in step 3, making a super mega article, and step 4, spinning variations like we were showing, like I showed you, put that in a notepad, and then step 5, now we're posting these variations to article directories. So you have your variations from your notepad ready, hiya, there it is, and you're pasting the variation right into article directories, and you're submitting. You're not doing photos. You can't do photos.
Each of the 6.
Most of these don't allow photos.
We go back through. No, all pictures. Most of them won't allow pictures or photos or video links. Basically what we're looking for is we're looking for the backlink. I mean, you can make it as pretty as you want. The article directories will get read. They will get you some traffic, but do not get confused that we're trying to get this to be ranked high. Our main course of action here is to use the article directories as a means of supplying enough authority, trust and link juice to rank the money site. That's the ultimate aim, not to rank the article, not to rank any of the blogs, but to ultimately rank the money site.
Now when you're submitting, and these links here, are you always pointing these links to the article directory, or are they randomly pointing to different other areas in this step?
We often start and mix it up as we move along further. The first time round we're going to do everything as the pattern showed, which is all direct, the tier 1s to the tier 2s and the tier 3s nukes. Then as we go through and we start and release the second, which will be the super mega article, the spun versions, we start and mix it up. We'll start and point different blogs to different articles. We'll start and nuke into the article directories rather than the blogs on a tiny template rather than use one of the larger ones. Then we'll cross-populate the 2.0, so we'll have links within LiveJournal pointing to a post within Blogger, which will post one of the other spun versions, and then that will link back to an article directory post, which in turn will link back to your money site. The link in the end will always end up at the money site. Where it originates is where we play with. That's where you cause the chaos. That's where you cause the natural linking patterns. Now, many people who have had slaps by Penguin, first of all, got notification of unnatural linking patterns. Now, what that means is they've had a high proportion of links created from one certain set of sources. So if you went and created all your backlinks in the social network platforms, then that's quite unnatural, because you should have a variety spread around the social networks, the social bookmarks, perhaps videos, article directories, because that's how naturally people backlink to your website. If you've got them all in the same areas, that's an unnatural linking pattern, and you probably took a Google penguin slap.
So now you're basically, just to keep moving here, because this is a lot to cover, and probably this is like 3 hours of work condensing into an hour. But
Yeah.
so now you've done this. You've done the 6 article directories. They have their different keywords. Like if you've got a site about kids toys, like selling a wet rag and wagon. Now you've got 3 wet rag and wagon keywords, and then you've got similar keywords here. I can't talk for some reason. Anyway, so you've done that here, and so now you're setting up the 10 blogs, and these are blogs that are now pointing to the article directory URL. So it is going to take you sometimes up to a week to get these URLs, but in the meantime you can be setting up these blogs, and so that's this step. You're setting up these blogs. These are the blogs here, and these are the 10 blogs. Now, of course, Blogger, Google has a love affair with Blogger because they bought Blogger, so you're playing in their ballpark, right? They like that if you post to Blogger.
They love Blogger. There's nothing Google likes more than promoting itself. So Blogger and YouTube are 2 of the most powerful backlinks you can give. You can basically attack Blogger with spam, and they'll let you get away with it because it's Google promoting Google. They won't rank you for it, but they'll let you get away with it. WordPress, on the other hand, very high PR9, will give your website a lot of link juice. The problem with them is behind the scenes they're very strict. They never tell you all of the rules. You can break them very easily, and you will go to log in one day and your website won't be there no more, because it's a free blog on their platform. And when they decide to delete you or one of your backlinks, you lose a lot of link juice in one go. So relying heavily on WordPress can be rather a dangerous scenario. Hub pages are good. They build authority, and LiveJournal are very easy. Weebly, Wikispaces, Tumblr, all easy to do, and Twitter for the social signals that at the moment Google are playing quite heavily with.
And let me interject here and say, Phil, I know you're going to leave here, and you scheduled an hour. We tried to keep these to an hour, but it's hard to.
Oh, well, no.
But I will say this: if you get to this point where you set up the blogs and you post to the blogs and you point the blogs back to the article directories, even if you only get through like to steps 8 or 7 of this, you are still going to be effective. You don't necessarily have to do all 12 steps.
That's right.
Darren a lot of times will mix things up and randomly, be as random as you can as you go further down this process, be more and more random. You don't want a pattern that's obvious. And so we
call it chaos SEO.
Yeah, like, think about, like, internet kind of reminds me of like the woods, right? Like if you walk into the woods, trees don't grow in an organized pattern it's obvious. It's chaos. There's trees here and there. There's no real way of figuring out why this grew there, that grew there. But in nature, that chaos actually does have organization. It just doesn't look that way to us, and that's the way the internet is. The internet is. The internet is the way it's chaos. It's just random stuff everywhere, and it's created this web of intermeshing stuff. And so if you could mimic the chaos and randomly do, we'll talk about how to do randomness, how to be random, but do not follow a pattern. I mean, as you get further in here. So these are the 10 blogs, and then, like, for example, when you're posting to these blogs in step 7, you are now sometimes doing, I would say a third of the time, doing blog posts that don't have any links in them whatsoever. Why? Well, think about the normal non-SEO person out there. They don't always do links. Half the time, or 3/4 of the time, they don't ever do any links at all in their articles, right? I mean, sometimes they do. Right. I guess it just a third of the time, fifth of the time, or half the time, do links. Mix it up. Don't follow an exact pattern. So scheduling the posts, diversifying the links. So you're porting now to the article directories, sometimes directly, or other Web 2.0 blogs, or the money site. You are being random. Other times, randomly doing no links at all. Does that make sense? I just wanted to. explain
Yep,
that.
that's absolutely covered that point. Yep, that's absolutely right. Organized SEO chaos.
And so, I mean, does that, yes, Phil, you asked a question about, we can talk about the 9-tier, we'll probably do, what we'll do here is we will post this replay and with this blueprint as well as the 9-tier ninja, we'll post that all in a funnel and a sales page, you guys can get a hold of. We'll be doing that next week. Okay, so you guys can get a hold of that. We'll send it out to everybody. So these are the Web 2.0 blogs you're signing up with, and what you're doing here is you're posting to these, and now this is where you are in this step here. You are now at this step where you're creating these 2.0, and this is all manually. You haven't done this with any automatic software. And then let's keep going because I feel like that it's important to keep moving. So step 8.
Yep.
So now when you're doing these blogs, you are randomly, we've already mentioned this, but you're now randomly linking to either article directories, Web 2.0s, or the money site. So don't make an obvious link wheel, but randomly link to either another blog, another WordPress, another article directory, or don't do a link at all. And so now you're creating chaos, and you're not saying to Google, I'm an SEO. You're saying here's a blog that points to an article directory or another blog or wherever. That's step 8. So now on step 9, you finally got to the point where you're using SENukeX or Magic Submitter or XRoomer, any one of these other ones, and you're nuking this. Darren, a lot of times you use the Kabilis, basically. At this point.
Yeah, I like the Kabilis.
This is an SENukeX template for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about. And SENukeX, there's different templates, and so the Kabilis is one of the templates. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, it's basically it'll give you one submission to all modules. It is very good. It doesn't leave too much of a footprint because it uses a lot of toolbox modules within it. WordPress, again, they are catchy. Sometimes they'll leave you alone. Sometimes they'll pick you up. Blogger, you can nuke as hard as you like because Google loves itself. And LiveJournal, Tumblr, Squidoo, they're good for hard nuking. The article directory is really good for hard nuking. You could even use the forum profiles direct on those, and they can take that. So again, we'll show that later. I would just nuke the hell out of any of those. You're not touching your money site. You're not going to get anything banned. You cannot get Go articles and article directory banned. All right, you cannot do that. It would be impossible. I'm sure many people who have their competitors would have loved to have learned how to, but it would be impossible. So you can nuke those as hard as you like. All you're going to do is increase the link juice.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
let me make this little point here too, that maybe this is obvious, but maybe it isn't. Let me just see if I can get a hold of something here. Okay, hang on.
Well, here's a point while you're getting that. If you ever wonder to yourself, am I using SENukeX correctly? Is it damaging my site? Then use it on these 2.0 sites. You can't damage them. WordPress might slap your site and say you're banned, but Blogger, Weebly, Wikispaces, Tumblr, all these will take as much nuking, good or bad, as you do. So if you're learning how to use SENukeX, learn on these 2.0s. You will only do good. You can't do any harm. The worst you can do is make no difference.
And
if
see,
you
look
do
at
it
this.
directly
See this
and
here.
learn,
See this? These are oceans. I just wanted to get this little. Can you see this picture? Let me hit play. Okay, sorry. Can you see this picture here? I've taken an ocean and shown you, okay, these are oceans, Blogger, article directories. These are 2 oceans, okay? So you're telling Google what you're doing here is nuking through one ocean, which points to another ocean to your money site. So basically, is there a way that a drop of water can make it through one ocean? A tiny little molecule in a drop of water in an ocean, and that's one ocean. Here's another tiny, your nuke is a tiny little molecule in the drop of water in another ocean. Is that showing up at all through Google? No way.
Yeah.
These are oceans.
Exactly
These
right.
sites
You've
are
got it
so
right.
big that they're oceans.
And
so
that's why you can nuke them hard.
that's why you can nuke them hard, and that's why he does a Cabela's template, one profile. Sometimes you do no spinning at all.
Yeah,
You're using one
that's right.
profile in SEO Nukex, so no spinning. Sometimes you will do spinning, but you're pointing through two oceans. So anyway, I just want to make that point. Hopefully it's pretty obvious. But this
That's
is
why
where
it works.
this is where you use automatic.
That's basically why you can nuke it hard.
That's why you can do this over 1 or 2 days, or this could be YouTube
Yeah.
or whatever, So anyway, so let's just go to step 10. Step 10, you can post more articles to blog. You can pull back your handy-dandy notebook. Sorry, one too many kids shows here. Anyway, so here's
yourself another spun versions and re-release those to the same site. It's just your 2.0s. Again, it's going to be a unique article. It's going to be 70 to 90% unique from what you created from the best article, the best spinner, and repost that, mix it up, use different headers, never use the same title, never use the same page name. So if your first article was posted and was called best golf clubs, then the second time you posted it, which would be your spin article, you might call it high quality golf clubs, still containing your keyword golf clubs, but you wouldn't repeat the title within the same site.
Exactly. So you are, you're diversifying the titles, the links. They're not pointing exactly at the same article directories or different nodes and money sites.
Nothing's got the same footprint. You're not creating the same thing over and over and over again. You're diversifying, using different methods, using different backlinking techniques. Sometimes heavy nuking, sometimes just using the social network, sometimes just bookmarking, sometimes not nuking at all. These are the sort of things that normal people will do, and this is what you've got to try and recreate. Google looks for SEOs. If you're leaving an SEO pattern behind, Google will find you. The best way is to think outside the box. Think how a newbie would think, if I found this article and I was running a blog, would I find it interesting? If I did find it interesting, what would I do? I might write an article and put a link into it. I might copy it and put it on my website. All these things are things that normal people would do, and this is exactly what Google's looking for. They're looking to find SEOs that leave a set footprint over and over and over again, and they're very easy to find.
Right. So you're taking time to establish the fact that you're a real person, really logging in, really creating article directories and blogs, and really posting. And so now we'll spend time doing this, but the social bookmarking, you are doing this a lot of times manually, or actually you're mixing it up. Sometimes you're doing it manually, sometimes you're doing it sort of in a semi-automatic fashion, right?
Yeah, I use a sort of a semi-automatic way. I've got them linked up onto my Google taskbar, so I just log straight in and post a copy that I've already got manually written. I use OnlyWire, I use SocialMonkey. I've set up and use the same bookmarking accounts within SEO Nukex over and over again. Those I find a combination between automated and manual works best. Always will.
And we'll show this, but again, using the randomness, random patterns, randomness. And then step 12, you can do more releases to the article directories. This could be either more supermarket article variations. A lot of times you're doing that. And the other thing is sometimes, or a lot of times, Darren, you've told me that you actually will just do the first 5 or 6, the first 7 steps. You won't do necessarily all 12 steps every time.
No, there's very few keywords that you would have to keep going all the way through this process for. If you were looking to promote SEO services for a client, as perhaps you watched Linda's course on Wednesday, it demonstrated very well, and we were going after, say, a dentist in a certain town, then by the time you got to positions 5 and 6 in this step, you would probably see that your website, your post was beginning to rank highly already, in which case you just take it nice and steady so as you don't overdo it, and you'll get exactly the ranking that you're after. Anything with around 2 to 3 million Google search words, that's easy. It's not a problem on the local searches. With the hard global searches, if you were going for something, as I said, like weight loss or golf clubs, then you are going to have to go through all of these steps. But I would imagine if you're going to take on something as hard as those keywords, that you're either using a super authoritative site, or I would suggest you aim for something a little easier, because they are extremely competitive.
And let's take some questions now. Jeff, I know you asked a question. Here's the bottom line here. If you would like to talk right now, if you could just say "hot seat ready" and just type that in. And with that, and when you say that, before you say that, what we want you to do is make sure, ideally, you have headphones and a microphone, so that there's not a crazy echo going on. And so basically, number one, make sure you have a microphone. Number two, try to have some headphones on there so there won't be an echo. If you must use speakers, please turn the speakers down as low as you can so there's not an echo, so there's not noise pollution for everyone else. Just say "hot seat ready" now if you have a microphone ready and you have headphones or your speakers are turned down. And John has just posted a written explanation of what I've just said. So on slide 10 again, Jeff, I know you can't speak, so if you do have a question, we do want to give you the opportunity to speak if you can. If you got sleeping babies behind you, or in a situation where you're at a cafe or whatever, or you're on the back of a truck going 88 miles an hour through a cornfield, then you can't speak. But does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? This would be like our open Q&A questions. You can ask them right now via text or say "hot seat ready." Linda, I'd like to unmute you. Are you in a situation where you can talk? I don't know if you are. I know you have been traveling. So anyone have any questions they'd like to write down, or say "hot seat ready," and we will unmute you. This is where you guys have probably heard this. If you can reteach slide 10. Yes, this is slide 10 here. You asked for slide 10. Someone asked for slide 10. You did, Peter. This is slide 10. Is that what you're looking for? Okay, Linda, I've unmuted you. Is this the right Linda? Okay, how about now, Linda? There we go.
Yep.
Hey, Linda. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm good.
Good.
Did you have any questions, Linda, about any of this process?
No, I'm good on it.
Cool.
Yeah, no, this is good, Darren.
Thank you.
Can't wait to try it.
Well, we will.
And of course, Linda, I'm sure you'll be getting a hold of this recording so you can send it out to your people to do it as well as try it. If you're SEO people that if you've got people that you use outsourcing to do SEO, then this is a training you could give them as well. And in Linda's case,
exactly, that's people. What my thought was.
Yeah, I mean, this does work. Before we started this, myself and Jeremy created a brand new site for a brand new keyword to prove to ourselves that we could do it, and it does work, and it does, and I will be following it week by week. Nothing will be withheld. There'll be no secret tactics. There's no black hat. There's nothing that will ever get any of your sites slapped or banned, which at the end of the day is the primary aim here. It's easy to rank a site on page 1 for a day or two. The hardest thing is to keep it there. And that just comes down to properly building backlinks that are there to last and that will create for you lasting link juice, not a short-term burst that within a few weeks will subside to nothing. Your site slowly starts to drop down and you think you're taking a slap, when in reality it's just that the quality of your backlinks are too low. Building a few high-quality backlinks leaves very little footprint and does a hell of a lot of justice to your website. Building a high velocity of low quality backlink, that is what damages your website. So those are the sort of things that I try and avoid.
Okay, Rick, you had a question. I'm sorry. I was going to say, Rick, you had a question.
Yeah, it's just a little one.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing, everyone?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, Darren.
Thank you.
You know the old Cabellis thing?
Yes.
Yeah. That has a press release thing
It
in it, doesn't it? Do you leave that in or do you take it out?
Right. There's a way of writing a press release to get it submitted to more of the press release sites than you would normally get. If you use a normal article and add it into the article directory's press release, social networks, you'll get highest on social networks, you'll get good on the Web 2.0s. The press releases you'll probably see come through as 1, 2, often 0. The article directories come through 1, 2, often 0. Now that could be because of the delay factor. It could be because they just don't get through. Personally, there are about 4 to 5 good press release sites, which I think we've got a lesson coming out on very soon, which I've already sent to John, on exactly how to get a good submission to a press release site to get it through straight away and to get your PR. Does that help?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So you don't just slap your super spun article in there and hope for the best.
No, I mean, what you're going to do if you do that, you'll pay for account creation, you'll pay for account submission on capture, and a lot of the times they'll just get slapped back because to write for a press release is totally different than to write for an article directory networks. They require an exact procedure to follow, and you realise this when you log into one itself and it says you haven't done it right, you haven't done it right. So each time you have to adjust it, it just proves more and more that an automated piece of software cannot do this, and that's why you don't see the press release backlinks generated within SE New Cakes that you'd expect to.
Okay, cool, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
the same's true really of the article directories. The good quality article directories will not allow automated submissions. They just won't allow it. What you're submitting to is the low level end of the stick, and that's what you're going to get, you know, low level link juice from low PR. I would rather have 6 high quality backlinks than 600 low quality backlinks.
Yeah.
Sally, are you able to talk? Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry. Cheers, Darren.
No, that's good. Does that help, Rick? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I must admit, what I've done, I've just I've just taken that arm of the template out, and I just I just called it.
You just won't get it through, will you? They just don't get through. I mean, I delete the article directories as well because you're not getting any value for money. Each time you run it, you're paying for account creation, you're then paying for account submission, and it's just not worth the hassle. When I said earlier I'd build a custom campaign, basically look at the Cabellis, take out the press release, take out the article directories, run the rest, and you're looking pretty good. Only index your social networks because you really don't want to be indexing your Web 2.0s. You don't want to index your forums. Never use your forums direct on your main site. Don't use the bookmarks on your main site. The best ones to use are just the social network, straight to the main site, and then hammer those with forums, hammer those with Web 2.0s and backlinks and RSS feeds, indexed from there, and that's where you'll find you'll get a lot of link juice created, and a good article will start and show up within the net on some of these nuke sites. I'm sure you've seen it yourself.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Now, Sally.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sally, I've unmuted you too. You can. How you doing, Sally?
Hi, Darren. Hi, Darren. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey.
Hi, how you doing? You all right? Yeah.
You hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Good. I don't have a fancy headset. I've got a point to make, and I have a question. The point is, what Darren is saying is always very awesome. It's really incredible what you do, and we do business together. Yeah. And I can vouch. What I tell prospects and new clients is, I say, I cannot promise to get you on the first page of Google, but I can honestly say that every single client has been and is on the first page of Google. So this stuff definitely works. And that's my first point. And my question is extremely mundane. And Darren, I've been meaning to ask you this for about 1.5 years. Sure. And it is, what is your system for keeping track of all of this work that you do? I mean, I don't think you just do it all willy-nilly, but how do you maintain order in this amazing amount of volume of work you put out?
Every now and again, I do make a mistake, and I will link up with the wrong set of accounts. As Sally probably knows herself. Basically, I control a set of different just notebooks that use different logins. These series of logins then control that particular set of accounts in that particular name, keeping it all different. It is difficult. There is no easy method for me to use. A lot of it's just manual writing down old school stuff.
Well, I recall the other day what Linda said, and it was to be really meticulous about keeping track and then developing systems. And as you know, that's one of the things that I would love to do with us.
Yeah. Linda is excellent at that. I mean, Linda is an excellent SEM marketer. You know, I'm an SEO, so to me, keeping track of stats, sales, clients, doesn't interest me. My expertise is SEO, which is why I always try and collaborate with SEMs to do their bit, and I'll do the SEO.
Right.
This is what this site's all about, collaboration, joining together of each individual's technical skills and using them to their best abilities. If you're really good at building a website or getting clients or SEO, and you're looking for someone who can do the opposite to what you do, then it's through collaboration that you'll find these sort of people and like-minded people who want to join up. And it's through gaining success with them that you'll gain more success yourself.
Good. Thank you all.
Okay. You still on mute, Jeremy?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted now.
There you go.
Peter, did you say you had a microphone that you were able to talk on? I could try to unmute you if you had any. Okay, here we go. So I've just unmuted you. How are you doing there, Peter? You there? Okay, he must not totally be ready. I don't know. Are you there?
I think I heard maybe turn up your gain or your mic level.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Cool, there you go.
You're on the air. Just kidding.
Okay. Oh, great. Talk about systems. I use Excel. I have a master sheet, and I make Excel do things that was never intended to ever go do. And I can just jump into an account, and I can see what I'm doing with all of that. If I'm looking for an organizational system, Excel's awesome.
I think we lost your volume a bit there. If you can turn it up.
Okay, let me see. Give me a second.
That's a little better. Keep going.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Let me see here. My phone was fine.
It's getting better. Maybe just be closer
Okay.
to it if possible.
Yeah, I have to talk up a bit maybe too.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay,
that's
well,
good.
anyway, what I was saying was basically I use Excel, and I make Excel do something it's not supposed to do, but you can literally, from a master sheet on the front, click on an account that will go to that section of Excel, and then you can just put in all your data of logging in, when you logged in, what you sent, and keep it that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We use LastPass, which does a sort of similar version of what you're saying. But yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I can share my template later on with everybody when it becomes of interest.
Cool.
Definitely, and Linda will be in our class on Wednesdays. We'll be talking about how she uses what she uses to organize. One of the things she uses is Evernote. It's a free little program that syncs notes across computers and cell phones, smartphones, of course. So everybody has their different ways of doing things to make to be effective. Did anyone else have anything to say or questions? But that's a great point, Peter.
Just
go ahead.
Yeah, it's Rick. Just briefly on the keeping track of things is I tend to keep everything in Google Documents usually a Google spreadsheet with like logins or what I've done, what stage I'm at.
Yeah.
And that way you can always access it on any computer or your phone or whatever, and that's free as well. So it's cool.
Yeah. I'm just too old school with a pen and paper. I can't help myself.
I must admit, I think as a non-volatile memory, pen and paper is fantastic.
Well, I think you know why I've got a non-volatile memory. We took part in the Masters Council together. So.
Yeah, mate.
Yes, my memory's not the best, but I have individual books that help me remember things.
Cool. Excellent.
Anyone else?
I do have one comment.
Go ahead, yeah, please.
Yep.
We're just going to leave we'll leave people unmuted until there's an issue with background noise. Keep going.
I think that this is an absolutely awesome thing you guys are doing. I've been a big follower of Ed Dale, and he's tried to pull something like this off and has never done so. And with the tools and the stuff you guys are talking about, I'm really excited. This is fantastic stuff. I hope it just keeps getting better and better.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, when it comes to gaining SEO knowledge, hopefully I've got a few strategies I can teach you over the next few weeks. When it comes to understanding how to get SEO clients, Linda runs an excellent class on a Wednesday, and between the two classes added together, you'll learn about all there is to know from our point of view. No one knows it all. I don't profess to, and nor does Linda. What we can show you is how to avoid some of the mistakes that many people make, and hopefully speed up the process to starting you making money online.
And I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, Jeremy?
And the other thing I was just, if you have any more questions, write them down right now. Jeff, you said you were hot seat ready, so I've just unmuted you. Are you there, Jeff? Let's see. I can hear tapping, so we're kind of close maybe to. You there? So as we're waiting on Jeff to show up here, I just want to explain too. Let me just show you here. Just interject, Jeff, whenever you can talk. What we're doing here is we're going to make a replay of these this first week available. And I just want to show you because this is sort of what we're working on here. This is the inside of SEO Wisely, and of course, basically every master's class that we're doing, which now there are 2 weekly classes, we'll have more in the future, but basically 2 weekly classes. So here's Wednesday's class. There it is, the Clients Council Week 1 Wednesday's class. Jeff, I'm going to mute you. I think there's a problem with your thingy, your microphone. But here it is. Here's the Wednesday's class. We'll also make this available outside the site. We want everybody to get a taste of what you can get there. But all the master's classes will show up here. They're weekly classes that we are doing, so that's just one aspect of the site. The site is, we've been working on this thing so long that it's so big that we don't even know how to, in a nutshell, explain all the stuff we have going on. But basically, the bottom line is the weekly classes are going to be available here. They're master classes, and so you'll be able to do that. And then, of course, we have a whole bunch of recorded content in different areas that we call hubs. Anyway, so hopefully you can see that, this is just, the beginning of, we really have spent basically the last month and a half getting to know people like Darren and Linda and other people. We have other classes planned that we haven't started yet just because we want to start small and not overcomplicate this thing. But the point of this whole thing is to make this into an expanding universe of weekly classes, trainings, where we can get people involved. And it doesn't really, a smaller class the better, because then we can unmute more people and have more people contribute. So anyway, Jeff, my question was, do you make different accounts for each campaign and article directory sites? Or do you use the same account over and over again? Darren, which one do you do?
Both. I have got some accounts that I will use over and over again for absolutely anything, varying from the latest product launch to just talking about rubbish. At the same time, I will make certain specific accounts if it's for a client, for example, so as you've got no cross-pollination of articles regarding one client and another. So I wouldn't be using the same article account for a plumber in Florida as another set of plumbers in Florida, because you have cross-pollination of the two article accounts and the client could get a bit annoyed. So sometimes yes, sometimes no.
That's always the answer.
Unfortunately, with a lot of the answers, yeah, unfortunately with me, you're going to find a lot of the time it is yes and no, simply because it depends on how you're viewing the question. Sometimes the answer is going to be yes, and sometimes the answer is going to be no. The art of good SEO is chaos. Organized chaos. Chaos that is designed for a purpose, but it isn't repeatable over and over again, doing exactly the same thing. Because if you're repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, then all you're doing is conforming to the definition of insanity. And although I'm pretty strange, I'm not quite insane yet. So I don't repeat the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I repeat different strategies over and over again, and then I get differing results.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, Sally, you know you got to go. Go ahead.
Okay, Sally, bye-bye.
Or do you want to say something, Rick? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say to Darren, I said you're going to say you said that twice.
Yeah, that's because I like doing the same thing over and over again. I told you I'm almost there. I'm almost there, I told you.
Okay. No, so it's all good stuff anyway. Great.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'll try, I think, well, I'll try one last time to unmute you, Jeff. I don't know if this will work or not. Can you hear me? Are you able to talk? I can hear myself echoing, but I can't. I think
his mic is broken.
Okay, so that's the whole thing. We'll basically keep doing this and giving you a sense, a taste. We'll keep doing these classes, and we're going to make these replays available probably next week externally. But hope you guys have enjoyed this class, and this is just really laying the foundation of what we're going to be doing. And that's the thing. I mean, you know, these are PowerPoints I put together from a previous 12-week class, the 12-week class that I taught. But really, most of what we're going to be doing is actually doing the work and not just like doing training like this. But today we're just laying the foundations out for, you know, this process. But we're going to be doing it, not like, okay, here we need teaching. And so that's a frustrating thing. I've seen teaching and not actually doing stuff. So that's why I tried to even show you, okay, you started to make a super mega article.
Yeah. No, we're going to take a site from the very beginning, from the Hello World page, and we're going to build it from scratch up. And people can log into Google, put the search term in for themselves, and see exactly how we're ranking, and prove to themselves whether this is worth repeating or whether it isn't. And at the end of the day, if we win the keywords and we start and rank on page 1 of Google, I suggest you follow the course. And if you feel it's not working, then don't. But we have tried this. We have proved that it works within 20 days. It will take 12 to 18 hours, which is why I do 18-hour marathons. When Jeremy talks about them, it's basically I will take this and do it all the way through. And I know that within that period, I'll pretty much win the minor keywords and stand a good chance on the majors. We're not going to fool anybody. There'll be nothing behind the scenes. Everything will be open, straight in front of your face. But they will be very fast, direct, very little talking. It will be watching exactly what we're doing. I'll be talking you through the process as I'm doing it. And then anything you miss, we will cover in the video suites, the video lounges that are there at SEO Wisely, or you can ask questions on the forum. But there won't be so much interaction during the course itself.
Exactly, and we actually have this other thing I'll just mention, and we'll end with this, and that is this area. It's called Live Meets. We actually have, this is where you register within the class for these weekly, in the site, this is where you register for weekly, these weekly classes. We have 2 of them now. And then the peer parties area, this is where you actually can start an instant meeting. Here, this is a live go-to meeting that you can actually start with anyone else in the site. Boom, it's like a 1 or 2 click start. and this is an instant video conference that you can start by and just do that. So as much as possible to take down the walls to let you guys see and collaborate and learn just like we are. So here we go. I've just hit the play button. I'm guilty of not hitting the play button. So you can see here in the site we have what's called peer parties. So can you see this? There we go. Click on peer parties in the site, and then it takes you to this page here, instant video conference. Clicking this button basically starts an instant video conference that you know, basically runs right away, and so it just opens this window. Let's see if I can just hit allow, and you can see me. Here I am right here. It's me live. I should have had this running the entire time, but there I am. If Darren would have joined us, he would show up here. And so these are video conferences where you can have video conference rooms. Yeah, this is a real headset. These are like $100 headsets on Amazon, so we explain where you can get these when you join the site if you need to, or you can just use a webcam microphone. But as long as you have headphones, that really stops the echoing from going on. So you can see here that we're really into, you know, bringing down the walls, letting you learn, you know, because we figured out that this environment of being together, learning together, this is where people really learn. Like even just spending 2 or 3 hours with Darren in the past, it's actually supercharged my learning. And there's Johnny. Hey. So these are like one-click starts. This is like a video conference. Of course, you're hearing us for the GoToMeeting, but you know, if you want to chat with somebody, like if you were on the forum on our site and someone said, hey, let's go chat on the video conference, and they were there, boom, you can click the go button, and we'll probably have also instantaneous video conferences we can do. Yes, so there you go. There's a little glimpse of the video conference. And then this is also, we also will do, you know, instant meetings as well. We'll show you how to do that. Good question, Peter. How do you know who's on the site? We will set that up where it will be more obvious. We're not there yet. I don't know if no one is doing this video conference, and it's a GoToMeeting anywhere. So we were implementing it and trying to figure out how to make it easy to work. The instant screen sharing meeting is essentially a GoToMeeting window. You guys are part of a GoToMeeting now. So this is the GoToMeeting window. You can hit start a meeting, and boom, it starts a meeting. Put the username and password in if there's no meeting started, or if there's a meeting, if there's already a meeting started, you can hit join a meeting, and that's it. If you don't have video on, but you do want to be part of a meeting, you can just join via voice. You don't have to share your video. So Linda likes to prance around half naked or fully naked at times, and that's fine. So just don't turn on your video. So anyway, there's your quick little heads up here. So we're just really trying to bring this to where everyone can get to know each other, collaborate, get together, and learn, because we've seen that getting together and sharing information in a guided class as well as an instant meeting, this is very, very effective. So I will stop there and let you guys know that we're sort of done for this class, right? So
yeah, except we need to make Jeremy watch the online. What was that when you cross the line? That's why we're not at normal jobs, because they make you watch the sexual harassment videos.
Oh yes,
that's right.
Yeah,
Jeremy
I would already get slapped
all the time.
But Linda and I wouldn't make that joke with somebody I didn't know. So Linda and I have known each other for a little while, and Darren and Linda and I, we're all part of the.
Yeah, these guys have been working online together for quite a while now.
So I would not make some kind of random joke with somebody I don't know. So I know. Anyway, but enough about that. Enough. I'm so used to teaching my kids. I'm talking to my kids. Like, stop. Enough. All right. So let's end this class. And we will add more things in there. Great idea, Peter. I've already had that idea of how can you let people know There are other people in the meeting join here. I'd love to make it as part of our header, you know. But anyway, we'll keep doing this and we'll keep improving it. And it's a great. Who is it? The person that said that you haven't seen this happening. I mean, we don't really see this happening a lot of times. These webinars you join out there are just sort of like endless pitches, but this is more like an open discussion, an open mastermind. So hopefully you can see the value. I know we can, and we're getting it every day. So, any final questions or thoughts? Linda and Rick, you're unmuted.
No,
Peter.
I guess everybody make sure you show up Wednesday.
Yep, I agree with that.
What time are you doing that?
How to use.
We're doing these
10 a.m.
master
American
classes
time,
at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So this is where you sign up for the master classes, and so this is the Clients Council. This is the Wednesday 10 a.m. Wednesday class.
Okay.
Register now. We'll sign you up for that meeting.
Which, just to clarify, is a different master class than this one, obviously, and of course at a different time.
That's the sort of time when I'm pretty good to listen. I'm not so good to talk, though. That one, but just
and as we go on, we'll have more. We'll have more classes. We'll start more classes. Like definitely, we already have 2 or 3 other classes planned that we haven't started yet. We're just starting with 2 to keep it simple.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, 7 a.m. That's why all the classes are recorded, so you can be part of those at different times. And then if you can't make it, you can watch the recording. So we'll have different. The whole big vision or the goal is to have different classes at different times of the day, so that people who miss one class, they could make classes they can make. They could not make the classes they can't. So. Anyway, well, I need to get headed on home here for the day, and thank you guys again for being here, and we'll post this replay, and we will see you guys hopefully within SEO Wisely, and we'll keep doing these classes. Anyway, we'll post this replay, and thank you for being here.
Yep.
Have a great weekend.
Yep. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, everybody.